I did my time and I went out. So if you say I'm fine, it doesn't touch. The soul is not so vibrant. The reckoning, the sickening, packaging subversion, pseudo-sacred perversion. Go to the deserts, go take your graves. Then fill your mouth with all the money you will save. Sinking in, getting smaller again. I'm done, it has begun. I'm not the only one.
When the night falls on you, you don't know what to do. Nothing you confess could make me love you less. I'll stand by you. I'll stand by you. On and on by you. Baby, into your darkest hour, and I'll never desert you.
Talking away, though I don't know what I'm to say, I'll say it anyway. Today is another day to finally less to say. I won't say it, but I'll be stolen away. Stolen by me, since it's cold and empty, I'm all on the road to try.
Bloody thing. Sod it. Right. No, oh, now it's saying excellent connection. Fine, fair enough. I will stay here. I am going nowhere. One person, one viewer, one like. Technically, statistically, the oh, for fuck's sake. Oh, 2 viewers, only 1 like. Okay. No longer the case, right. We will sit here and wait. If you're in the room, please say hello. Jesus Christ, the connection today is all over the fucking gaff. It just randomly drops to 0 for no reason. No idea why. As usual, it's not telling me. It isn't telling me what the problem is. So fuck it. Hey, Mort. Nice to have you here, sir. I was playing music, but because the connection is buggering up, so I might as well sit here. Hey, Carol. Very well. It's not 8:12. It's 3:13. Excuse me. I think you'll find the British invented the time. So, we the British invented the time, so we get to say what time it is. Yeah. You sound like you're repeating yourself. That could just legitimately be me repeating myself. Well, to be fair. Yeah, for no reason. Like every couple of minutes, the connection just goes and then comes straight back again. You know. You know. I have no idea why. Don't know what I'm supposed to do about it. As usual, YouTube is giving me no fucking instructions as to what to actually do about it. The settings are exactly the same as they were before. Okay. Do I put less? Do I lessen the amount, the bit rate? Let's put a lower bit rate. See if that helps. Okay, now it's fucking. See, now it says excellent connection. But it won't last. It says excellent, then it goes to poor, then it says none at all, then it goes back to poor, then excellent. You know, normally it's just poor all the way through, you know. So this could quite possibly, you know, which to be fair might have been a lot easier, you know, when it was just consistently shit. Now, okay, now it's been excellent for like about a minute. Let's It's amazing, no matter where I move to. It's gone again. And now it's back. Hey, Liam. Hey, Liam. It's amazing that you'd think someone who moves as much as I do, eventually I would end up in a place that had really good internet connection. But no, not me, no. No matter where I go, I seem to find the shittest fucking internet connection in the country. You know, it's just that's the only place. Maybe that's part of the, you know. It seems better now. It won't last more. It won't last. It can't last. See, all I need someone to explain to me is when it says it's not receiving enough data, does that mean I need to increase the bit rate or lower it? That's all. If I just knew that answer. Oh, it's excellent again. Seems this is going to be the theme. 4 likes and 4 viewers. Back to 100%. It's going to cut out again. And it's back. And it's back again. Hey, Shadrach. Shadrach, I did reply to your comment. You said you had some videos, old videos of mine. I did reply to you, giving you my email address. Okay. Well, we will leave it as it is. Okay. Basically, it's just Dick Coughlan, all lowercase, at iCloud.com. Okay, good for you, Ghost of Kiev. No one, with all due respect, not going to make a hell of a lot of difference posting that in here, but you sold with getting a router. Yeah, getting a router is not exactly a fucking immediate solution, is it? More, I can't exactly just pop out and get one. Okay, Kiev, we're not going to defeat Russia together in this chat room. Okay? I appreciate and admire your passion and dedication, but posting comments in a live stream, in a chat room of a live stream that has 4 or 5 people in it is not helping anyone. Have you really? Well, good for you. Thanks for taking the time out of your busy schedule to pop into here. Am I pro-Russian? I guess so. And right. Good for you, Ghost of Kiev. I shall fire this. I shall post these comments on the Reddit, on the subreddit that happened. Yeah. Right. Well, I'm not going to claim Putin is based. So I have no interest or desire to defend Vladimir Putin on any level. So, hey Neji, do I think NATO? I don't know. Shadrach, don't ask me. I don't know. I'm gonna do something that is quite rare on the internet, and that is I'm not gonna answer any questions about a subject I legitimately do not know anything about. I realise that's not exactly that's not the standard way that YouTubers operate, but hey, fuck it. I did legitimately, if you want to hear a funny story, I legitimately recently, nearly, like this close, almost scared. I received a fright so badly that I almost shit myself. Right? I was this close. Right? And if you want, and if you're willing to play along at home, I will recreate exactly what happened. Right? Have you ever had have you ever been sat up like whatever and you've had your earbuds in and you haven't actually played any music for a bit, but the device that they're connected to suddenly just starts playing for no reason whatsoever, and you weren't expecting it, and it's on full volume, and your bowels try to emigrate. Right? Nobody? Just me? I will happily recreate for you exactly what happened. What you need to do is, but you need to make sure you've got your earphones in. I want them pressed right up. I want you to try and cut out all sound. Right? Turn the volume up on your device as loud as possible, because the track that started playing is a track by a extreme hardcore metal band from Australia called Portal. You know, it's nothing to do with it. Doesn't. It's nothing to do with the they're not massively high quality earbuds. They're good. They're decent. Right. They do the job. But just get your earphones up. Turn the volume right up. No. And the track that started playing, it's about 2 a.m. Right, so it's quiet already, but it's dead silence. Right? It's death silence because I've got my earbuds in. And then this is the track that my earbuds that started playing randomly at 2 a.m. unexpectedly. Right, now that went on. That went on for about 45 seconds. At which point I was flopping around on the floor like a fish. Sounds fair. Very close. If you're not familiar with Portal, I highly recommend checking them out. They are terrifying. Right? They make Slipknot look like the Wiggles, quite frankly. But they're one of these. They're a band. This Portal are like one of those bands. You know when you see a film that's like really disturbing, and upsetting, which is it's supposed to be. And it did what it's supposed to do. But you can't really say you like it. You can't really say you're a fan of it. But it did what it's supposed to do. That's what Portal are like. They're incredibly. They are, I've never heard anything like them. Are they black metal? No, they're no. I don't know what the technical. I'm trying. If I could, I don't know what the technical classification for them would be. I suppose they're referred to here as an extreme metal. And demolishing the boundaries of extreme metal with death black grindcore hybrid. As a technically ambitious as it is purposefully mired in waves of distortion. It's unlike anything I've but I know there are lots of but I'm not a massive I've never been a massive fan of particularly black metal or death metal. The occasion one or two, but this band's the way that you get those those films that are like art project, those art movies that you're not supposed to like. They're more about the atmosphere and the sort of like just the intensity of it, or it creates this this feeling. It's like that. But I don't want to know if there is anything, if there is anyone, if there are any bands out there that are more extreme. I don't want to hear them, right? Because I don't think I'll be able to sleep at night. Quite frankly. Yep. So that was fun. Yeah, but I mean, yeah. But to be honest, I don't think they have. I don't think there's any single genre that fits it, because, like I said, this isn't normally something. It's just the. You can't listen to it. I can't listen to much more. I can't listen to it for more than like 5 minutes before I have to turn it off, because it's the sort of thing I can imagine them playing it at full volume in like Guantanamo Bay or something like. Anyway, I do have some. I do have some videos lined up that we can play and watch. Some of them are. Some of them are. Some old classics that I have played before, but I think it's worth going over. So I've got some classic LBC stuff as well, and other bits and pieces. Like I said, you're not gonna, they're not the sort of band that you sing along to, and they're not gonna come out and go, and hi, we're Portal, and a 1 and a 2. Am I still doing artwork? Yes. I haven't posted any in a while because I've been busy doing other stuff, but I haven't posted much on Facebook anyway, because like Facebook, I'm on my 5th 30-day suspension this year on Facebook, and which I think is pretty impressive. It's like 45% of this. I've been suspended for 45% of the year, of the last year, so to speak. Not this year, obviously, because we're only in March. So the glory of well, I've been, to be fair, I've been trying to get it. I've been trying to sort of like, I've been sort of like watching more stuff that's related to MMA and UFC. Chael Sonnen was it took me a while before I discovered him, but there's I've watched several. I've watched several really good YouTube videos. If you're into UFC or MMA, or you just like good documentaries or interesting documentaries, and you don't care specifically what they're about, the channel that that guy's channel that I linked you to, Liam, called Napoleon Blown Apart, was he's got two. I think it was his video on fake martial arts that was that was the first one I saw, and then I saw his Conor McGregor video, and he's also got a really good video about John Jones, and but I got into Chael Sonnen a couple of weeks ago, and yeah, I'm kind of amazed that he's never gone into like WWE, because you think you think he would fit in perfectly, but the internet gods want me to go, nah. It's nothing about the internet gods, mate. It's just to be fair, it's my own. Every time in Facebook, when it comes to Facebook, every time it happens, it's my own fault, because Facebook now automatically recognises certain words, or or things that you. It's not a nobody has to flag them. It just recognises them, and unfortunately, I keep this, so I will post, and I'll then get that I will then get banned for, and I keep forgetting. Yeah. Well, fair enough. I also, but I because you'd always mentioned him, I didn't realize, I legitimately, didn't, I didn't realize that the whole thing about being undefeated and undisputed was just a catchphrase that he had. I didn't realize he had such, because he's got his win-loss record is quite bad, and I didn't realize that. And then I was like, right, I get it now, right? But it's but he does it with he does it very tongue in cheek. Never lost a round yet. Well, now what he proves, Liam, if I may get a bit poncy and philosophical, he proves that there's more to being undefeated than just never losing a match. It's not like with Conor McGregor. Like Conor McGregor, has this thing where he doesn't count losses that are really dumb. But he actually believes that, and he expects, but nobody actually goes along with that. Nobody apart from Conor McGregor fucking actually buys into that. Whereas Chael Sonnen is someone who you go, yeah, undefeated, undisputed, never lost a round, even though it because it's like his gangster video. I'm sorry if there's any issues with the stream at the moment, but it keeps it's doing that thing where it keeps cutting out again. Anyway, well, I never realised this. I mean, this is the thing. I know who Conor McGregor is, obviously, and but it wasn't until I watched I didn't realise what an unmitigated shitbag he was until I watched it. It's a fascinating, it's fascinating, Napoleon's documentary on it, because it's sort of it's just fascinating watching this guy go for this guy's personality change, He's a more famous version. Well, no. Charlie Zelenoff is mentally ill. Chael Sonnen is an entertainer. And is an entertaining athlete. Although Napoleon Bonaparte does a video about fake martial arts, and he actually talks about in that. But Charlie Zelenoff was, all the Charlie Zelenoff stuff was actually, that was quite entertaining until he started, he started stalking Kim Kardashian and Nicki Minaj and stuff like that, and the way he was, that was, to me, was quite. That's where it sort of, it quite disturbing, and it wasn't funny anymore. I don't know much about the Klitschko brothers, to be honest with you. When it comes to boxing, I'm a bit more, any sort of reasonable or useful knowledge regarding boxing. I'm much more from the 80s and the 90s. I've got a bit more. That's when I used to pay a bit more attention to it. Yeah, I just wish they'd, no, I think I disagree. I think it was funnier when he was getting smacked around by that like lad who was like 16, and what I liked about that is because they didn't pull him up, they didn't pull the guy off of him, or they didn't, the amount of times Charlie Zendorf was there, and I was going, let him don't take pity on him, let the guy batter him fucking senseless, so he's got no. So there's nothing, but he's not left in any, because more often than not when people step in and save him, that's what gives him the excuse carry on. But Zernov's one of those things where it's like, he's one of those examples of like, it's funny up to a point, but in general, it's like this is why certain people should not have unfettered, should not be just allowed on the internet without supervision, because there's just people end up just, they end up getting this fan base who aren't fans. They're just people who want to, provoke them and sort of encourage this ridiculous behaviour, regardless of what it does to them, Not at all, Leaf. I probably missed it, mate. I didn't see any. How you doing? I'm great, mate. I didn't see any. I did not see any initial greeting from you, so it didn't show up on my thing. So. Now, one of the videos I had pulled up that I wanted to play again. I've played it before. Siki from the 1920s, right? I've never heard of them. So I don't think the mods clapped it, mate. Listen, mate, my mods are fucking useless. I mean, my mods never do fucking anything. One of the videos I did have lined up because recent news stories. Due to recent news stories, I thought it would be interesting, to play it again. Was the Prince Andrew interview, the BBC Prince Andrew interview? Just because it's always fun to go back and watch that. It's one of those things where if people haven't seen it, they should have done. So who fancies going down memory lane with that one? No, you're not on your own, Liam. To be honest, it's it didn't age like fine. No, it hasn't aged like anything. It aged like a pile of shit. I mean, it was shit from the beginning. I mean, there was no aging to it. There was not a single human being who watched that who was sitting there going, "Well, this is going very well." This was and I have to give credit to the woman doing the interview, because she managed to she managed to do that entire interview, whilst I'm sure she must have been inside going, fucking hell, this is brilliant. Okay, hold on. Let me, hold on. Oh no, that's not it. Okay, hold on. Okay, I will find this eventually. Hold on. That's not right. Why does it keep fucking... What is wrong with this bastard thing? I can't seem to get it to fucking... Hold on. Oh my god, this is fucking irritating as hell. All I want you to do is fucking... Okay, that's not right. There you go.
Palette.
Right, okay, so we got that. Come on. All you have to do, you fucking useless pile of shit, is just fucking give me the option to select the fucking video that I want to fucking bastard play. No, not that one. That's not it. This is so fucking annoying. Why won't it do this? It does this. It always does. It was working earlier when I fucking practiced this, and now it won't fucking do it. You utter bastard. Oh, for fuck's sake. Right, well, I'm just going to play it and you're going to have to listen to it because I can't fucking... For some reason, I can't get the video to come up, you know. So you're going to have to just... It's not helped by the fact that my mouse, the batteries are dying in my mouse. And no, obviously, Lewis, that's the, you know, that's obviously my bit rate is not working and I've got lag. I know that. Why don't you come back in here about half hour ago and we'll fucking discuss that, you fucking idiot. I'm just going to play it, right? But you're going to have to deal with audio.
We've come to Buckingham Palace in highly unusual circumstances. Normally, we'd be discussing your work, your duty. Well,
You kind of are, you know.
come on to that, but
Yeah, we'll come on to that like you did to a teenage prostitute's face.
today you've chosen to speak out.
And can I just say, I think this was a great idea, Andrew. Yeah, and by the end of this programme, people will be in no doubt that you are definitely guilty of nothing more than being too honourable.
The first time. Why have you decided to talk now?
Well, because someone clearly told him to do this as a prank, and what with him being a complete and utter fucking pranny, he believed it.
Because there is no good time
That is true.
to talk about Mr. Epstein and
I think there are good places to do it, Andrew. One of those would definitely not be live on the BBC.
all things associated. We've been talking.
He says there's no good time to talk about Mr. Epstein, and yet there was a good time for him to stay around his house. You know.
To Newsnight for about 6 months about doing something around the work that I was doing.
And unfortunately, all this stuff about me being a nonce came up, and apparently that it's getting in the way.
And unfortunately, we've just not been able to fit it into either your schedule or my schedule.
Yeah, but you know about not fitting things in, don't you, mate?
Until now, and actually it's a very good opportunity, and I'm delighted to be able to see you today.
She's delighted as well. I bet. Do you reckon at the BBC? Do you reckon they had a fucking they were drawing straw? I bet people were fighting. They were stamping on each other's throats to fucking get this job. This was like everyone was in for this one. Yeah. There wasn't a single fucking person there. You know, they all had their money in. There were people offering sexual favours to everyone say, give me this, please give me this fucking job.
As you say, all of this goes back to your friendship with Jeffrey Epstein.
Your friendship, your brotherhood,
How did you first become friends? How did you meet?
Well, pedodar, is a very strong thing,
Well, I met through his girlfriend back in 1999, who, and I'd known her since she was at university in the UK. And it would be, to some extent, a stretch to say that as it were, we were close friends.
Well, you were close enough, weren't you? I mean, you don't have to be mad. I was never close friends with any of my drug dealers, but we were close enough, See where I'm going with that,
We're friends because of other people.
We were friends because of other people, So it's their fault, is what you're saying. It's it's everyone else's fault that you ended up becoming friends with, a guy who trafficked underage girls, And once you know a guy who does that, I mean, what are you supposed to do? It's like, you're gonna turn it. You're gonna turn it down. That'd be rude.
And I had a lot of opportunity to go to the United States, but I didn't have much time with him. I suppose I saw him.
You had enough. I mean, it wasn't really him who you had the time with. Really, it's not.
Once or twice a year, perhaps maybe maximum.
Once or twice a year, and who here? I mean, come on. If you or I, were friends with a guy who was a convicted nonce, once or twice a year, for periods of several days, in his New York apartment. I mean, it's nothing, isn't it?
3 times a year. And
maybe 3 times a year, He's not very good with numbers, Andrew, which is, could be part of his alibi.
Quite often, if I was in the United States and doing things, and if he wasn't there, he would say, well, why don't you come and use my houses? So I said, that's very kind, thank you very much.
Yeah, and of course, you can't say no, can you? It's like if I was in Austria and I, needed to add a load of stuff that I needed, I couldn't take it with me. And Joseph Fritzl said, I've got a basement. I'd be like, I'm good, Joseph. I'll put it in storage, because obviously, as you can imagine, being a prince, being a member of the royal family in New York, I mean, there's no options. There's nowhere for you to stay.
Indeed. But it would be a considerable stretch to say that he was a very, very close friend. But
he was very, very, very close. I love the way he thinks that this matters. Like he has to be, you weren't Bill and Ted, okay? You were not, right? You weren't bad boys forever, ride or die, But
he had the most extraordinary ability to bring extraordinary people together.
Yes, underage girls and nonces. He brought people from all walks of life. It's amazing, really.
And that's the bit that I remember, is going to the dinner parties where you would meet academics, politicians, people from the United Nations,
12-year-olds.
I mean, it was a cosmopolitan group
of child rapists.
I would describe as US eminence.
Eminence. Is that a slang?
Was that his appeal then? Was that what you...
I love the way we didn't see as he goes, was that his appeal? And he goes, yes, 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 that's all it was. Nothing else. Only his ability to bring people together. And who could, and it's, but I can't, and I have to agree with him. It's remarkable that a guy who was a billionaire would be so well connected. As opposed to like most other billionaires who are fucking, who are well known for being complete loners and not knowing anybody.
You were perceived by the public as being the party prince. Was that something you shared?
That's also...
Can I just say, the one thing that's come out of this is I feel that when we look back at the 90s, I feel that, the media and the general public and people in general were a little bit hard on Sarah Ferguson, on the Duchess of York, when she was all over the press because she was getting her toes sucked in Spain by some geezer next to a swimming pool. Meanwhile, this geezer is the party president.
A bit of a stretch. I don't know why I've collected that title, because I never have really partied.
I've never partied. You know, he says it like he's baffled. Party. You know, like party. Like I've never got down with my bad self. You know, I've never been a hip, groovy. Off. You were. I'm sorry, but if those of you who are too young to remember, he was off his. He was pissed throughout most of that decade of the night. That's what he was always. He was wankered and in a club.
I was single for quite a long time.
Okay, again, not relevant, but you're allowed to have fun when you're married, Andrew. I know that in the royal family, that's
in the early 80s. But then after I got married, I was very happy.
Yeah, but I mean we took but that didn't last long, did it? Because and
I've never really felt the need to go and party.
It's like that scene from fucking Wayne's World, where they get sponsored, and there's that guy doing the voiceover, go party on Wayne and party on Garth. I've never been, I never felt the need to party,
And certainly going to Jeffrey's was not about partying.
It was not. We were. It was serious stuff going on there. We were not. We were not partying because the less people who were there, the better. Quite frankly, because then you've got witnesses.
Absolutely not.
You said you weren't very good.
What were you doing there? Quite frankly. Or did you have a Magic the Gathering fucking tournament? I mean,
friends, but would you describe him as a good friend? Did you trust him?
Yeah. And do you regret that now? Did you kill him?
Yes, I think I probably did. But again,
I think I probably did. Well, that's a convincing answer.
I don't go into a friendship looking for the wrong thing, if you understand what I mean.
What?
I'm an engaging person. I want to be able to engage. I want to find out. I want to learn. And so...
I want to fuck teenage girls.
You have to remember that I was transitioning out of the Navy at the time.
Oh, I see. I forgot. I didn't realise that. Well, thank you. Well, good for you for coming out with that one, Andrew. Transitioning from the Navy, where he was obviously in the barrel most nights. If you don't know what that means, look it up. But erase your search history afterwards.
In the transition...
and in the transition from going, from being in the military to not being in the military, as you know, there's a long period of time when you're required to get shit-faced.
I wanted to find out more about what was going on, because in the Navy...
In the Navy, everybody knows your name in the Navy.
It's a pretty isolated business because you're out at sea the whole time.
Lots of men in a submarine, all locked in together.
And I was going to become the special representative for international trade and investment. So
I bet that was a fucking... I bet they're well glad they didn't make that
to
decision.
know more about what was going on in the international business world. And so that was another
And so this required you to... What the fuck are you talking about?
reason for going there. And the opportunities that I had to go to Wall Street and other places to learn.
To learn about, money. This is what other people do, is it? They work, do they? People work. I had no idea. What's this? Oh, it's all these bits of paper with my mum's face on it.
Whilst I was there, were absolutely vital.
Were there any people you met there who were not trafficking teenage girls, that you could have hung around with, I mean, Jordan Belfort would have been fucking more preferable.
He was your guest as well. In 2000, Epstein was a guest at Windsor Castle and at Sandringham. He was brought right into the heart of the royal family at your invitation.
But certainly at my invitation, not at the royal family's invitation.
Okay, so I wanted to be clear that nobody wanted him here. They said no, you're not having him stay over, and I said, well, bollocks to you, Mum.
But remember that it was his girlfriend. That was the key.
I think you're missing the point with that question, Andrew. I don't think anyone is interested as to via what social means that this convicted child rapist ended up staying in your grandmother's house.
I'm not saying this. He was the plus one to some extent.
He was the plus one, but that's it. He was a plus one on a. I mean, what am I supposed to do? Not invite Ghislaine Maxwell?
In that aspect.
Am I right in thinking you threw a birthday party for Epstein's girlfriend, Ghislaine Maxwell, at Sandringham?
No, it was a shooting weekend.
No, it wasn't a party. It was an entire weekend. It was a shooting weekend. We've all had which I'm sure you all, everyone here, we know shooting weekends, and parties, not remotely. It's an entire weekend.
A shooting weekend.
Just a straightforward shooting weekend. We just, we just found things, shot them, and then went home.
But during these times that he was a guest at Windsor Castle at Sandringham, the shooting weekend, we now know that he was and had been procuring young girls for sex trafficking.
We now know that.
We now know that. But at the time, right, I, didn't know that.
At the time, there was no indication to me or anybody else that was what he was.
Do you think there should have been, Andrew? Do you think maybe you should have spotted clues?
Doing. And certainly, when I saw him either in the United States, when I saw him in the United States, or when I was staying in his houses in the United States, there was no indication, absolutely no indication. And if there was,
then I wouldn't be saying anything anyway.
You have to remember that at the time, I was patron of the NSPCC's Full Stop campaign. So
obviously, the NSPCC is the National Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Children, and he was a patron of that charity while staying at Jeffrey Epstein's house. So presumably, it would have been wise for him to sort of keep his mouth shut, just to be like an inside agent.
Close up with what's going on in those time about getting rid of abuse to children, so I knew what the things were to look for. But
it doesn't, Andrew. You don't need to be a patron saint of a charity that to prevent cruelty to children to spot the clues that the geezer whose house you're staying in is full of 17-year-old Eastern European girls.
I never saw them.
So you would have made that connection because you stayed with...
You never saw them because they were all very short. They were all very short. And and at the time I had this neck injury that meant I could only look directly at the ceiling, and which was which had been caused by the cold. So anyone who was there who was not at least 7 foot tall, I couldn't see anybody.
With him, you were a visitor, a guest on many occasions at his homes, and nothing struck you as suspicious during that whole time.
Nothing. Right, well, I think maybe you're a bit of a lying bastard, sir.
Just for the record, you've been on his private plane.
Yes.
You've been to stay on his private island.
Yes.
Or as it's known, Paedophile Island, which if that wasn't a clue.
You stayed at his home in Palm Beach.
Yes.
You visited Ghislaine Maxwell's house in Belgravia in London.
Yes.
So, in 2006, in May, an arrest warrant was issued for Epstein for sexual assault of a minor.
Yes.
Yeah, and that's a minor. That's a young person, not someone who works in a mine. Unless, of course, they were a young person who also worked in a mine. But, you know.
In July, he was invited to Windsor Castle to your daughter Princess Beatrice's 18th birthday.
Well, then clearly, if she's 18, then she's too old for him. So, you know, even if he knew, you know, you can at least claim that, you know. It would have been a better, that would have been a better fucking excuse than probably what he's about to give.
Why would you do that?
Because I was asking Ghislaine.
You was asking Ghislaine, could you not have told Ghislaine, by the way, don't bring your boyfriend because it might reflect badly on me? You know, if you bring your paedophile boyfriend with me, you know, it's going to be a bit of a faux pas.
But even so, at the time, I don't think certainly I wasn't aware when the invitation was issued what was going on in the United
You can retract the invitation, Andrew. It's your fucking house. You're not legally obliged.
States. And I wasn't aware until the media picked up on it, because he never said anything about it.
Well, of course he didn't say anything about it. Why on earth? Why on earth would he say anything? You know, why would he bring that up? It's not his fucking problem, is it? Is there any analysis as to why you agreed to that? No, because he's a fucking idiot. Is the only real explanation. You know, because the stupid bastard probably thought he could get away with this. You know, he thought he was cleverer, that he didn't. I'll give you an example of how, you know, of the kind of reception at the end of, I think it was 2019 was when this interview happened. At the end of the year, the Guardian newspaper did an end of year top 50 of the top 50 best comedy shows, you know, British comedy shows, you know, that had been released that year. This was number 23, right? They put Prince Andrew being interviewed by the BBC as the 23rd, I think it was 23rd, funniest fucking thing in the best comedy show of 2019 fucking countdown, right? That's how fucking, you know, that is a good sort of, sort of way of gauging the kind of reception this got, you know.
He never discussed with you the fact that an arrest warrant had been issued. So he came to that party knowing police were investigating him.
Well, I'm not quite sure whether was it police that were, I don't know.
What do you mean, who else is going to be investigating him? Were you expecting Chris fucking Hansen to turn up at your house?
This is the problem.
Who else would be investigating him?
At the time.
But I'm afraid this is the problem. There's an awful lot of this was going on in the United States, and I wasn't a party to it, and I knew nothing about it.
Do you think maybe you should have been? You know?
In 2008.
Do you think, I can't believe nobody mentioned it to you. When you said to the other guests at the party, oh, by the way, Ghislaine's coming and she's bringing Jeffrey. I can't believe no one there went really, Jeffrey? Epstein. Oh, you sure about that? You know.
He was convicted of soliciting and procuring a minor for prostitution. He was jailed. This was your friend. How did you feel about it?
Well, I ceased contact with him after I was aware that he was under investigation, and that was later on in 2006. And I wasn't in touch with him again until 2010.
Oh, and as we all know, there is a 4-year, there is a 4-year statute of limitations on contacting someone, who has been, arrested, investigated for trafficking underage girls.
So, I just it was one of those things that somebody
This is why, no. The BBC have had their funding slash, if at all, because the Tories are in charge. That's why, it's a... Because it's, it's a public utility. It's a public, it's a public utility. So, I mean, I looked up the word paedophile in the, and the etymology of the word is brotherly love of children. So I don't even know why it's such a bad thing.
saying that I'm terribly sorry, I can't be...
So no contact. When he was serving time, there was no call, no letter, nothing there.
No.
Didn't send him a cake with a file in it? A paedophile?
He was released in July. Within months, by December of 2010, you went to stay with him at his New York mansion. Why? Why were you staying with a convicted sex?
Because he's got a fucking motor car bed. Have you ever stayed in one of those? They're amazing fun.
Offender.
Right. I have always, ever since this has happened, and since this has become, as it were, public knowledge that I was there, I've questioned myself as to why did I go, what was I doing, and was it the right thing to do?
Do you think that maybe it's a bit difficult to believe that, considering those are questions you probably should have asked before, at the time, You shouldn't wait until people fucking catch you.
Now, I went there with the sole purpose of saying to him that because he had been convicted, it was inappropriate for us to be seen together.
It was inappropriate for us to be seen together. That is a incredibly, wonderfully vague and and non-committal way of putting that, isn't it?
And
He also told him this. It's not appropriate for us to be seen together. This conversation happened, in public, as they're walking down, and I think they were actually photographed, and it was in the news. This, and people who did not like that.
go and see him or not to go and see him. And I took the judgment call that because this was serious, and I felt that doing it over the telephone was the chicken's way of doing it.
I don't think that is a standard that exists. At which point I went, in that case, congratulations. Let's carry on.
Ending?
Hello? Hello? Anyone? No? Fuck. Hello? Seems a bit... Oh, you're back now. Okay. Okay, I just had to reboot that. Okay, let's try that again. I wondered what happened there. Half the fucking room just fucking disappeared. Yeah. Let's wait for that to fill up a bit. Remember to hit the like button if you haven't already. That would be useful. Or the dislike button, which I don't, because it doesn't show that anymore. So fuck it. I don't know what it says, Hold on. Oh, that's that. Yeah. Here we go. Oh, and it's just fucking, yeah, that's it. See, it was doing so well, and then it's just, see, this is the problem. See, it was doing well. Well, you can rate videos still. It's just that one of those ratings doesn't show up anymore, you know. And I mean, the thing is, here's the thing: YouTube tend to, when it comes to changing certain aspects of the, you know, of the interface or the interaction that we have, generally what YouTube tend to do is they look at the sort of relevance or importance or the, you know, yeah, of each of something before they change it. For example, when they used to have the video response option. You could actually, you could post a video as a direct response. You can't now. They don't have that anymore. The reason they don't have that anymore is because when they looked into it, they realized that the percentage of people who were actually using it was only about 3 or 4%, and in fact the majority of those were people who weren't actually using it in the way it was intended, like to make a video response. They were just posting any video that they had as a response to a video that a popular uploader would upload, in the hope that people would see it at the bottom. It would sort of be able to, whether it had anything to do with the actual video it was responding to was irrelevant. And because of that, they got rid of it, So I imagine the reason for getting rid of, the dislike button is the fact that, for the most part, the amount of the like to dislike ratio that a video tends to have is probably so far in favor. It's probably, the amount of dislikes compared to likes is so small. And a lot of people did, but like I said, this was like that was back when. But I mean, that was when the YouTube that was when YouTube community was a lot. The YouTube in general was a lot smaller back then, and but unfortunately, but I imagine that the for the most part, people who people who your average YouTuber, when you look at the like to dislike ratio, the amount of likes probably is so greatly is so huge compared to the number of dislikes, that they decided well, if we just you can dislike a video, but we will but what we're going to do is hide the dislikes. And that would be it. And also and I imagine they're also doing it in the hope that it it stops people. It prevents people from mass disliking a video in an act of that in what would probably amount to an act of just cyberbullying, and because if you it would eliminate that, but I don't know. The truth of the matter is, it will probably make, in terms of like your your actual, the way you use YouTube and the way the videos you watch, it will probably have little to no impact on on that whatsoever. I don't know, but only time will tell. It hasn't really made much difference to my. I tend to very rarely dislike videos. I tend to just only if I don't like a video, I just will stop watching it. But I tend to just I tend to only just if I like a video, I'll click like, and that will be that. But at the end of the day, that's what I imagine. Yeah, well, I mean, Gangnam Style's not really a good, good metric, really, because Gangnam Style is, Gangnam Style is a music video, and generally, people, the only people who are going to watch a music video are people who, want to see it. And also, Gangnam Style kind of came out of nowhere. Plus, Gangnam Style fucking spanks. So, but that's not really, I'm talking about just like in general. I mean, even people who are like, who's a good example of someone who I don't have to look very far to find a video to find videos about bashing Darman, DHAR, this who's incredible, there are just you type Darman sucks into YouTube and you will find just an endless you'll just find a massive, huge amount of fucking of videos made by people who talking about how shit this guy's videos are. But if you go to his videos, they're very popular, and the people watching them are the so. Like I said, it's very difficult to fucking sit there and So for the most part, it's very difficult to sit there and I mean, I only I've only watched I've only heard of Darman through seeing a couple of videos that people made talking about how shit he was, but at the same time, But at the same time, if he's shit, fair enough, and I'm sure, But at the same time, it's like I'm probably just not going to watch him, because the same way I'm not going to, I'm not going to watch I'm not going to watch Jake Paul, and. But I mean, these are it's just another form of you could argue maybe people should have the users should have the option to to show dislikes, but then at the same time that's probably gonna be just as much that's probably gonna take up as much fucking it's gonna be just as complicated to do that as it is just to you might as well just have all dislikes available. Who, Jake Paul or Darman? Because they're not. Neither of them are prank channels. No, it's Jake Paul is not a prank, right? He's totally serious, right? He's legitimately that fucking dreadful. I'm sure he's done pranks, but I mean, prank channels are, died out fucking, God, many years ago. They died out like 2016, 17, Darman's not a prank channel. No, his videos are supposed to be like, motivational, sort of like, they're like skits or like scenes or or they're scripted, fictionalized thing. They're seen out, but they're not pranks. Well, no, it died with a lot of them. Well, actually, it died with a it died with a lot of them. There was, the problem was that there what's interesting is one of the people who was responsible, one of the people who is blamed for ruining the prank channels is FouseyTube, because FouseyTube's pranks were all faked. And the thing is, prior to that, all these people who did prank channels, a lot of them were legit. But because FouseyTube was faking his pranks, it meant that he was able to he could record them in a way that made them they looked better, because he didn't have to worry about people seeing the camera or people, whatever. So because he was getting more views, because his videos were overall better, all the other prank channels just started faking their stuff, and so all prank channels then followed started faking them, and then you have things like people who aren't faking them, and there was a case of one guy who did a prank video where he made a homeless guy eat a sandwich that had that had glue in it or something like that. It was some fucking horrible, or something horrible like that, and he got in trouble for that. So. And so many of the big prank channels either got exposed or were found to be faking them, that it became fucking the default position became, well, these are obviously these channels are obviously fake then. Hold on. I think I've managed to. Oh my God, I think I've got it. Oh, look at that.
I had to show leadership, and I had to go and see him, and I had to tell him, that's it.
That was December of 2010.
Yep.
He threw a party to celebrate his release, and you were invited as the guest of honour.
It was a Free the Pedos party.
Oh, in 2010, there certainly wasn't a party to celebrate his release in December, because it was a small dinner party. There were only 8 or 10 of us, I think.
When was the last time you had 10 people round your fucking house? And said, oh no, it's barely anyone next to, on what planet is that a fucking...
Dinner. If there was a party, then
I'll solve it. Check out the hook on my DJ revolves. Dun, 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 dun.
Well, I was there, so there was a dinner. I think it was quite as you might put it, but yeah, okay.
No one's suggesting you were doing crank off of a tinny dancer's chest, Andrew,
Therefore, I was there at the dinner, yeah.
I'm just trying to work this out, because you said you went to break up the relationship, and yet you stayed at that New York mansion several days. I'm wondering how
But I
long...
was doing a number of other things while I was there.
But you were staying at the house of a convicted sex offender.
It was a convenient place to stay.
How convenient was it? I mean, it would literally have to be in the same, next door to the place you had to be for the next 4 days.
I've gone through this in my mind so many times. At the end of the day, with the benefit of all the hindsight that one could have, it was definitely the wrong thing to do. But at the time, I felt it was the honourable and right thing to do.
It was the honourable thing to do. In his mind, this was honourable.
And I admit fully that my judgment was probably coloured by my...
This is amazing, this bit. His judgment was coloured. What do you think coloured his judgment?
tendency to be too honourable.
He's too honourable, right? Yeah. What do you consider your weaknesses? What do you think your weaknesses are? Oh, I'm a bit of a perfectionist. I mean, everything I do has to be, completely, totally 100%, brilliant, or it's not worth it,
But that's just the way it is.
Because during that time, those few days, witnesses,
imagine being so honourable.
they saw many young girls coming and going at the time. There is video footage of
He saw them. They saw him coming. All right.
seen accompanied by young girls, and you were there, staying in his house, catching up with friends.
I never. I mean, if they were, then I wasn't a party to any of that. I never saw them. I mean,
Yeah, but you were you didn't see them. I have this. I can't see anybody. I actually can't physically see anyone. I have this eye condition. So I can't see anybody who is under the age of 30 is invisible to me.
you have to understand that his house.
In the middle of his street, his house.
I described it more as almost as a railway station, if you know what I mean.
I bet you wish you'd fucking stayed there.
There were people coming in and out of that house all the time. What they were doing and why they were there, I had nothing to do with. So I'm afraid I
do you think maybe you could have asked, out of curiosity, just, making small talk?
can't make any comment on that because I really don't know.
Another guest was John Brockman, the literary agent. Now, he described seeing you there, getting a foot massage from a young Russian woman. Did that happen?
No.
No. It was a man.
You were absolutely sure, or you can't remember?
Absolutely sure.
Absolutely.
So John Brockman's statement is false.
I don't have any feet. You see, I have a rare condition where I don't have any. My feet don't exist.
I don't know Mr. Brockman, so I don't know what he's talking about.
But that definitely wasn't you getting a foot massage from a Russian girl in Jeffrey Epstein's house.
No.
It might seem a funny way to break off a friendship, a 4-day house party,
A 4-day
assault
bender.
with a dinner. It's an odd way to.
This is our last time hanging out together, Jeffrey. Let's get fucking shit faced.
It's a difficult way of putting it. That's a very stark way of putting it. Yes, you're absolutely right. But actually, the truth of it is that I actually only saw him.
So let's go to that Central Park walk, which was snapped. Friends of yours suggest that Epstein wanted that photo taken. Perhaps he'd even set it up. Do you worry that you were being played?
Again, new information is coming out since his suicide has made us really appraise that walk in the park. We can't find any evidence, or my staff and my people and I can't find any evidence to suggest that was what he was doing. I mean, you can look at it in so many different ways. The fact of the matter is that somebody very cleverly took that photograph.
What do you mean cleverly? Somebody just turned around and went, so it's probably some fucking wildlife photographer who just went, hold on, is that Prince Andrew and Jeffrey Epstein? Fucking right, this will get me, I'm never working again.
It wasn't, as far as I remember, nor do my security people remember anybody being present or close, because there were enough security around I mean, there are even photographs of the security people are around in the photograph. So I mean, he could have done, but I
If you mean JCS, yeah, I've seen that. Yeah, there's to be fair, there's loads of people who've reviewed this video.
I guess what I'm asking is, do you feel that you were part of Epstein's public rehabilitation?
Oh, no, funny enough, I don't.
Funny, do you know what? It's funny. Do you know what? I've asked. You know, it's funny you should ask me that because I don't.
No. I mean, if he was doing, if that photograph was taken for that, with that purpose in mind, then it doesn't equate to what actually happened.
So why wouldn't you announce this breakup when you got back? Why wouldn't you publicly explain what you'd done? Did you worry
Because he's too honourable.
that he had something that could compromise you?
No.
Do you regret that trip?
Yeah.
Okay, Andrew. The answer is say. When someone asks you that, you say yes.
Now, still not for the reason.
Oh, hold on. Hold on. Yeah, might have just been cut off there. Hold on.
Reason being is that the people that I met and the opportunities that I was given to learn.
Could you not have got those opportunities via other means? Is it essential that you had to know this geezer for those? And what were these opportunities? Were they so invaluable?
Either by him or because of him, were actually very useful.
But you knew Giselle. You knew his girlfriend. Couldn't you have got them through her?
He himself, not as it were as close as you might think. We weren't that close. So therefore, I mean, yes, I would go and stay in his house, but that was because of his girlfriend, not because of him.
Was that visit, December of 2010, the only time you saw him after he was convicted?
Yes.
Did you see him or speak to him again?
No, that 2010 was it. That was it, because I went. Well, first of all, I wanted to make sure that if I was going to go and see him, I had to make sure that there was enough time between his release, because it wasn't something that I was going into in a hurry, but I had to go and see him. I had to go and see him.
And you stay with him, and you
had
stay in the house.
I couldn't easily have gone and
What
stayed
would you have
somewhere
to
else,
do for
but
you
the
to not
sheer convenience
go and
of being able
stay in
to
the house of
get a hold of
someone?
the man?
What would he have to be guilty of?
He was in and out all over the place. So
He was in and out.
getting
Yeah,
him in one place
I heard you were. Bet you
for
were and all.
a period of time to actually have a long enough conversation to say, look, these are the reasons why I'm not going to. And that happened on the walk.
July of this year, Epstein was arrested on charges of sex trafficking and abusing dozens of underage girls. One of Epstein's accusers, Virginia Roberts, has made allegations against you. She says she met you.
She recently came into a little bit of money as well. Yeah. And I would really like to know where that fucking 12 million quid came from. You know? I'm just curious, you know. Is that our money? Is that the money that the money that the British taxpayer has fucking gonna fit the bill for?
2001. She says she dined with you, danced with you at Tramp nightclub in London. She went on to have sex with you in a house in Belgravia belonging to Ghislaine Maxwell, your friend.
Great bit of acting coming up from Andrew when he denies this.
Your response?
I have no recollection of ever meeting this lady.
That's not a no. I just want to point that out. You know, he could have seen no would have been the answer you would expect someone, you know, who had not done any of those things to say. But I have no recollection. Right.
None whatsoever.
You don't remember meeting her.
No.
She says she...
He remembered enough to fucking pay her 12 million quid. I mean, would you pay 12 million quid to someone who you don't remember meeting or you have no recollection of doing anything with?
Met you. in 2001. She dined with you. She danced with you. You bought her drinks. You were in Tramp nightclub in London. And she went on to have sex with you
I love that she's just repeating the same question again, just to really rub this fucking in.
in a house in Belgravia belonging to Ghislaine Maxwell.
Didn't happen.
Oh, now it didn't. See, the second time it didn't happen, right? See, that's what you should have said the first time, Andrew, right?
Do you remember her?
Do you remember the time?
I have no recollection of ever meeting her. I'm almost, in fact, I'm convinced that I was never in trance with her. There are a number of things that are wrong with that story. One of which is that I don't know.
I'm not old enough to go to nightclubs.
Where the bar is in.
I love that. I don't know where the bar is. How big? I've never been to Tramp nightclub. I don't even know if it still exists. How big did the bar have to be that you don't know where it is? And could you have not possibly got someone to go to the bar for you?
Tramps. I don't drink.
Right? Okay. Again, irrelevant. So what? Presumably, if you don't drink, Andrew, you don't need to know where the fucking bar is.
I don't think I've ever bought a drink in Tramps.
I don't think I've bought a drink. In fact, what is drink? What is drink? What is this? So what actually is drink? This. Why would anybody drink? I don't think I have a very. I'm actually a breatharian. I've never eaten or drunk anything. I live on light and oxygen.
Whenever I was there.
Hey, Dingle.
Do you remember dancing at Tramp?
I remember doing the Macarena, but then everybody was doing the Macarena.
No, that couldn't have happened because the date that's being suggested, I was at home with the children.
You
Probably the worst place for them to be by the sounds of it.
know that you were at home with the children. Was it a memorable night?
On that particular day,
Funnily enough, it was memorable because conveniently so it was memorable. I specifically remember that day because it's on this. It's what's called an alibi.
we now understand that is the date, which is the 10th of March. I was at home.
See, here's the problem with all this stuff of him struggling to remember where and when he was. I don't know this, but I'm surprised. I would have thought that, given the fact that they're members of the royal family, that almost that someone would have kept, a record of their itinerary and movement, and where they were at the time. Someone must have done, surely. Is it not? I'm amazed there wouldn't be someone whose fucking job it was to fucking make note of at any point where anyone was, just on the off chance that something like this crops up.
I was with the children. I'd taken Beatrice to a Pizza Express in Woking for a party at a.
Yeah, and right there, Pizza Express in Woking gets the biggest fucking promotional. Now there are people who are going to go to Woking fucking Pizza Express just for this route, just so they could go. So, because if there's one thing we learn, if there's one thing this as Prince Andrew has taught us, is that it's that quite frankly, if you go to Pizza Express for a party, you will never forget it. You will remember everything.
I suppose sort of 4 or 5 in the afternoon. And then, because the Duchess was away, we have a simple rule in the family that when one's away, the other one's there.
The other will play.
Terminal leave at the time from the Royal Navy, so therefore I was at home.
Why would you remember that so specifically?
Well, because exactly. Why would you conveniently remember that fucking day? Because do you know why? Because fucking Pizza Express in Woking fucking spanks. It's a riot.
Why would you remember a Pizza Express birthday and being at home?
Because going to Pizza Express in Woking is an unusual thing for me to do.
Yeah, because to be there amongst ordinary people, it was hilarious.
a very unusual thing for me to do. I've only been to Woking a couple of times, and I remember it.
It seems to be the only. It's conveniently the only fucking thing he does remember from the last 20 years.
Somebody reminded me of it. I went, oh yes, I remember that.
Oh yes, I remember that. Someone said, "No, Andrew, you were at Pizza Express on that specific date and time."
I have no recollection of ever meeting.
He remembers nothing when he was at Jeffrey Epstein's place. You know, he goes to Woking Pizza Express once, and he remembers fucking everything, every pissing detail. Suddenly he's Rain Man, but now
Or being in the company or the presence.
So you're absolutely sure that you were at home on the 10th of March?
Yes.
She was very specific about that night. She described dancing with you, and you profusely sweating, and that she went on to have baths, possibly.
This ain't funny though, Andrew, is it? You know.
My problem with
Hold on. Here we go. So, sorry. Might have just dipped out again. So, here he comes with this fucking bollocks about him not being able to sweat, which, to be fair, I think he's probably gotten well over.
with the sweating, because I have a peculiar medical condition.
It's so peculiar that no actual fucking doctor has a fucking clue what he's talking about.
Which is that I don't sweat, or I didn't sweat at the time.
Okay, now correct me if I'm wrong, but if you don't sweat, you die, don't you? Isn't that like, you know, aren't you almost, you know, certainly going to die of fucking, you know, because if you don't sweat, then you can't cool, you know, you sweat in order to keep your temperature, you know, regulated, and if you don't sweat, then you're almost certainly going to die of overheating, you know, or I don't know. I'm just sort of suggesting that's where, you know, it's why I think that's, you know, that's my, you know, non-medical opinion. But to be fair, you know, I think I have the right to speak on it because it's a made-up condition anyway. Yeah.
And that was, oh, actually, yes, I didn't sweat at the time because I had suffered what I would describe as an overdose of adrenaline.
Because I took a load of ecstasy, during the Falklands conflict.
When I was shot at.
I bet you wish they'd fucking eat you now.
It was almost impossible for me to sweat, and it's only because I have done a number of things in the recent past that I'm starting to be able to.
Yeah. What would that be? Would that include fucking teenage prostitutes?
Yeah. Is it possible that you met Virginia Roberts, dined with her, danced with her in Tramp, had sex with her on another date?
When you were blacked out?
No.
Do you remember meeting her at all?
No.
Do you know you didn't meet her, or do you just not remember meeting her?
I don't know if I've met her, but no, I have no recollection of meeting her.
Because she was very specific. She described the dance that you had together in Tramp. She described meeting you. She was a 17-year-old girl meeting a senior member of the royal family.
Never happened.
She provided a photo of the two of you together.
Yes.
Your arm was around her waist.
Yes.
You've seen the photo.
I've seen the photograph.
How do you explain that?
I can't.
I can. Well, I mean, you know, there's two explanations. One, it's faked, which it'd be pretty difficult to do considering, you know, how you know, the sort of, you know, considering most people wouldn't be able to, you know, create such a convincing composite image at the time. You'd have to be really fucking. There'd only be a few people who would have access to the equipment or the technology that could do that. Or you're talking out your arse.
Because I have absolutely no memory of that photograph ever being taken.
Do you recognise yourself in the
Oh,
photo?
yeah, it's pretty difficult not to recognise yourself.
You're
Oh no. Hold on one second. So, I mean, here's the problem: is that he says that's me in the photo. So, and that's you know, I mean, this is the problem: is that he seems to think that him not remembering is relevant when it, you know, it's like, you know, it reminds me of like when you see, I've seen these fucking, you know, I've seen these 9/11 truthers do these things where they're showing you video footage of something, and what they're saying over the top that's happening is not happening. Right? It's counter to what is actually taking place in the video. Right?
A friend suggested that the photo is fake.
Oh god, the fucking connection is so fucking slow at the moment. Oh. Well, it's like imagine your wife or girlfriend walking in and catching you, you know, in bed shagging another woman, and you look at her and go, "It's not me," right? It's like, well, it must be someone. Do you think he's just standing next to her and she's got one of those fake prank hands? Just, you know.
I think it's from the investigations that we've done.
I know my internet's fucked. I know, mate. There's nothing I can seem to do at the moment. It's just, I'm trying my best. But, you know, there's literally very little I can do at the moment. I'm trying to fucking... oh, God. I'm waiting for it to fucking pick up a bit because it's slowed down, so slow at the moment. Hold on. Okay, hopefully that's a bit better. Okay, hold on. Right. Andrew is unusual looking. Well, that's a bit unfair. He's a member of the royal family. You know, takes fucking, you know, several generations of inbreeding to get there. I mean, he's not even the ugliest. You know, I mean, his brother's Prince Charles, so that, you know, he's the looker. Oh my god, the fucking connection. Would you stop pissing around? Doesn't matter what I put it on, it keeps fucking slowing down. So ridiculously slow at the moment. Oh no. Yeah, hopefully that's a bit better. Okay.
You can't prove whether or not that photograph is faked or not because it is a photograph of a photograph of a photograph.
I'm sorry, can we try that one again? You can't prove whether that photograph is faked or not because it's a photograph of a photograph of a photograph. Can anyone fucking translate that into anything resembling a fucking coherent thought?
So it's very difficult to be able to prove it, but I don't remember that photograph ever being taken.
But it's possible that it was you with your arm.
Well, that's me, but whether that's my hand or whether that's the position, I don't. I have.
He's kind of falling apart here at the moment. Yeah. Lower your bit rate. I have done. I've lowered the bit rate. I lower the bit rate, then I put it up again, then I lower it down.
Simply no recollection of a photograph ever being taken.
The world has now seen the photo that Virginia Roberts provided, taken by Epstein, we understand, in Ghislaine Maxwell's house.
See, if he was, not wanting to give him any ideas here, but if he'd have been reasonably fucking, if he'd have been smart, he would have, he needed to come out and just say, no, that's not, that photo is faked. That's all he had to say, right? The photo is fake. He needed to say it with confidence. If there's one thing, we can learn from Alex Jones, it's that people will believe anything as long as you're loud enough and you say it with enough undue confidence and fucking, and absolute certainty. They'll believe any old shite. But he's like, that's definitely me, but it's, is it, was that, no, is that my hand? Is that, is it, is that her? Who knows? Who could possibly, no, I don't know. It's a photo, it's like, Jesus Christ almighty.
Well, here's the problem. I've never seen Epstein with a camera in my life.
Who said he took the photo? You've never seen Epstein with a camera? Okay. I've never seen you in a Ford Nissan. I've never seen you wearing a fucking wearing a fucking panda costume. What's this got to do with anything?
I think it was Virginia Roberts' camera. She said a little Kodak one that she lent to Epstein. He took a photo, and your arm is around her waist.
I don't remember that photograph ever being taken. I don't remember going upstairs in the house.
I can't go upstairs. You see, I've got this fucking condition that I got from that I got during the Falklands conflict, and it stops me from being able to, go upstairs. I'm a bit like a cow. I can't go upstairs. I can go downstairs, but I can't go upstairs. If you were to place me upstairs, I'm like a reverse Dalek.
That photograph is taken upstairs, and I'm not.
He remembers that that's upstairs. He knows that room is upstairs. He cannot remember that photo.
That's me in that picture, but we can't be certain as to whether or not that's my hand on her. Whatever it is, left side.
You think that...
Because I have no recollection of that photo.
Because I don't have a left hand. I have a condition.
So why would somebody...
I don't have any left.
Picture of me. It's not a picture of... I don't believe it's a picture of me in London. Because when I go out in London, I wear a suit and a tie. That's what I would describe as those
Constantly?
are my travelling clothes if I'm going
In
to
bed,
go,
even in
if
bed?
I'm going overseas. I've got plenty of photographs of me dressed in those sorts of that sort of kit, but not there.
Just to clarify, so you think that photo has been faked?
Nobody can prove.
But that's the wrong answer. That is the wrongest of the wrong answers, of all the wrong answers you could have fucking given. You don't say nobody can prove. Because that's the answer you give when you're guilty.
Or not, that photograph has been doctored, but I don't recollect that photograph ever being taken.
And you don't recollect having your hand round her waist in Ghislaine Maxwell's
I had it round her throat
on
later
any
that
occasion,
night.
even if it was a different
I'm terribly
day.
sorry, but if I, as a member of the royal family, and I have a photograph taken, and I take very, very few photographs, I am not one to...
If someone had taken a photograph of me in that situation, I would have gone up to them, punched them in the face, grabbed the camera, ripped the film out, and said, if you do that again, I will have your fucking legs broken.
Hug and public displays of affection are not something that I do.
I don't, I don't kiss or hug or go near or touch people. I can't touch people. It's impossible.
So that's the best explanation I can give you. And I'm afraid to say that I don't believe that photograph was taken in the way that has been suggested.
Why would people not believe that you were there?
Have you watched the last 26 minutes of this interview?
I'm sorry, why would...
I'm just trying to understand.
Why would anyone believe this utter pile of horseshit that you've been talking for the last 25 minutes, Andrew?
There's a photo inside Ghislaine Maxwell's house. Ghislaine herself is in the background. Why would people not believe that you were there with her that night?
I might well wish to believe it, but there's the photo...
Yeah, if you're going to Photoshop it, why would you Photoshop Ghislaine Maxwell in the background? If you're going to be that, why not go fucking whole hog and just fucking... got a picture of her holding up a copy of that day's newspaper.
After taken upstairs, and I don't think I ever went upstairs.
And have a speech bubble next to Andrew saying, this is definitely me.
You're sure of that?
Yeah, because the dining room and everything was on the ground floor. It was as you came in the hall.
He remembers that. He remembers that.
I'm at a loss to explain this particular photograph.
He's got the most convenient fucking memory, isn't he?
If the original was ever produced, then perhaps we might be able to solve it.
But you can say categorically that you don't recall meeting Virginia.
Yes, Prince Andrew, he liberated Port Stanley Tesco's, don't you know? Yeah.
Roberts.
He shut Tucker's finger in the tank door, didn't he?
Dining with her, dancing with her.
I don't believe a word of this, Andrew. You definitely were in that fucking bedroom.
Tramp. You're going on to have sex with her in a bedroom in a house in Belgravia.
And the people's behaviour away from Belgravia would make you aghast. So much variety, watching society scampering past. If you had any mind at all, Gibbon's divine decline and fall, well, it sounds pretty flimsy, no more than a whimsy. By way of contrast, on Wednesday last, I went to a marvellous party with Newell and Nana and Nell. It was in the fresh air, and we went as we were, and we stayed as we were, which was hell. Poor Grace started singing at midnight, and she didn't stop singing till 4. We knew the excitement was bound to begin when Nora got blind on the voddy and gin and scratched her veneer with a parky and fit, and I couldn't have liked it more.
Absolutely categorically tell you, it never happened.
Do you recall any
Okay, that's not what you said earlier.
kind of sexual contact with Virginia Roberts then or any other time?
None whatsoever.
Because she said in a legal deposition,
That you had a penis that was as bent as a cockroach leg.
a legal court document in 2015, she had sex with you 3 times. She
In the space of 2.5 minutes,
is
including the time it took to eat the pizza.
not confused about this. She said the first was in London when she was trafficked to you. The second was at Epstein's mansion in New York.
That is a date in April, I believe. Is that correct?
She said it was a month or so later.
Yeah. Well, I think with the date...
Right, you notice that's, he said that's in April, isn't it? And then she said that's a month later. I went, yes. Like, that's not, well then that's not in April, is it?
We have,
So that's a bit of cold reading there, what he's done there.
for that,
I was in a Burger King in Chipping Sodbury on that day.
shows that I was in Boston, when I was in New York the previous day. And
A off the shoulder slinky number with a slit up the side.
Why would she be saying those things?
We wonder exactly the same, but I have no idea. Absolutely no idea.
He's about to get up and say to the BBC interviewer, he's like, oh yes, you don't believe me? Well, take a look at this. Like, what's that? You go, well, it looks like a very small penis. Not that, that.
She made these claims in a US deposition. Are you saying you don't
Look at that. Look at the look on his face. That is what I would call a David Brentian expression.
believe her? She's lying.
That's a very difficult thing to answer because
It's not, Andrew, because if it's not true, you could say you don't confuse you don't mistakenly think you fucked the Duke of York, the grand old Duke of York 3 times on 3 specific dates in 3 different locations, unless you're mental, right? Who would fantasize this?
I'm not in a position to know
Well, I think you are. You're one of only 2 people who could have been present at the time.
what she's trying to achieve, but I can tell you categorically.
See, this is what this is. This is a little bit of him that still exists. That's got a bit. That's a bit guilty. Yeah, and he doesn't want to say. He doesn't want to outright. He doesn't want to outright accuse her of lying or making it up, because then he'll feel bad. Because he knows that he's fucking lying. He doesn't. He knows he'll feel bad.
I don't remember meeting her at all. I do not remember a photograph being taken.
It wasn't me.
And I've said consistently
It wasn't me.
and frequently that we never had any sort of sexual contact whatever.
It wasn't me.
She spoke about you outside the court in August of this year.
She called you a sweaty pedo. Is that?
She said, I quote, "He knows exactly what he's done, and I hope he comes clean about it."
The answer is nothing.
So,
The answer is nothing. Oh, bit late in the day. Bit late in the day for that, Andrew. You should have started the interview with that rather than, oh, I don't know. I can't sweat. I mean, I don't have any legs. I've never been upstairs. What is drink? I don't know where the bar is. Are these my trousers? I don't know. I don't understand.
Virginia Roberts is watching this interview. What is your message to her?
You better start looking under your car in the morning, bitch.
I don't have a message for her. Because I have to have thick skin. If somebody's going to make those sorts of allegations, then
I have to be strong. I have to be the bigger person here.
I have to have thick skin and get on with it. But they never happened.
For the record, is there any way you could have had sex with that young woman or any young woman trafficked by Jeffrey Epstein in any of
And not noticed.
his residences?
No.
Did your trousers just fall open, and then you slipped on some bird food, and then your penis inadvertently entered the goldfish tank?
And without putting too fine a point on it, if you're a man, it is a positive act to have sex with somebody.
I think you should ask some of the women about that, mate.
You have to take some sort of positive action, and so therefore, if you try to forget,
He's got a very fucking strong opinion. He's got a very big opinion of himself, isn't he? It's a positive action.
it's very difficult
It is the chance of a lifetime.
to try and forget positive action.
It's difficult to forget positive action. I think you'll fucking find. I disagree with that entirely, Andrew. Has anyone here ever forgotten a positive action? i.e. making a decision to do something, which is weird fucking definition, but I'm pretty sure,
And I do not remember anything. I can't rack my brain. I'm thinking, when the first day
I fucked so many underage prostitutes that if you expect me to remember the name and the dates of, one specific one, and you're having a laugh.
when the allegations came out originally, and I went, well, that's a bit strange, I don't remember this. And then I've been through it and through it and through it over and
That's
over.
what
and
you
over
thought, is it?
again.
I'm sorry, can we just can we deal with that for a second? When the allegations came out, he went, well, that's a bit strange, I don't remember that. Is that what you would say if someone accused you, if someone alleged that you had done something highly illegal and incredibly illegal and fucked up like that, and you hadn't done it, that your first port of call would be to say, well, hold on, I don't remember that. You would surely, your immediate reaction would be, hold on, that's bollocks.
No, nothing. Never happened.
Epstein's housekeeper, also in a Florida court legal deposition, said that you visited the Palm Beach residence around 4 times a year. You got a daily massage.
4 times a year?
4 times a year? Palm Beach, yeah, but it's fucking Palm Beach. Yeah.
That was what he said in a Florida court legal deposition.
No.
I'm just wondering, when you look back now, is there a chance that those massages might have been the services of someone?
Well, did you have a massage in the Carl Benjamin from Swindon kind of?
Who was being sexually exploited or trafficked by Epstein?
No. I don't think. No, definitely not. Definitely not. And I definitely did not visit his Palm Beach house 3 or 4 times a year.
She said 4. She didn't say 3 or 4. So
Absolutely not.
How many times would you say you visited?
In total, probably
Less than
4
what?
times. In total, throughout the time that I knew him.
and yes, those 4 times were in the course of a year, but
In fact, probably that was the place that if you see what I mean, he
no, I don't actually, because hold on, I've just thought of something. I've just thought of a great lie, right? And I've jumped ahead of myself.
was in the house more there than in other places that I was.
That's where you find him.
But it was usually because I was going through and on somewhere else. So it was
Well, you just walked through the building like a rambler.
a day.
I got right of way. It's in the Magna Carta.
That was it.
You said in your statement from the palace, at no time did I see, witness or suspect any suspicious behaviour.
Yeah.
Virginia Roberts' legal team says you could not spend time around Epstein and not know what was going on. You could not spend time around Epstein and not know what was going on.
If you are somebody like me,
What, a pedo? You would have done, yeah. If there was any justice in the world, you'd be...
which has members of staff walking around, there were a lot of people who were walking around Jeffrey Epstein's house. As far as I was aware, they were staff. They were people that were working for him, doing things. As it were, I interacted with them, if you remember, to say good morning, good afternoon. But I didn't, if you see what I mean, interact with them in a way that was, what are you doing here, why are you here, what's going on?
But you noticed if there were hundreds of underage girls in Buckingham Palace,
God,
wouldn't you?
but you'd only...
Oh, God. Oh, that would have been amazing. Oh, Jesus, don't, you know... I don't know whether there were hundreds, whether that might be a tad, you know... But surely just a couple... Well, I just had to restart it again. Sorry. I got your message and it was too late. Okay. Right. There we go. Now. You've worked it out. Thank you. I restarted the stream anyway because fuck it, why not? Okay. Where was I?
So I don't know, you're asking me to speculate on things that I just don't know about.
Well then why did you... Andrew, you asked for this interview. Do you not think maybe you should have probably considered whether or not you remembered anything other than the fucking epic night that you spent in Pizza Express in Woking on that one specific date that you conveniently fucking remembered before you agreed to this interview.
You seem utterly convinced you're telling the truth.
No, he doesn't actually.
Would you be willing to testify or give a statement under oath if you were asked?
Well, I'm like everybody else.
I don't think you are, Andrew. I really don't think you are.
And I would have to take all the legal advice.
Okay, Andrew, again, that is a question that you have to say yes.
That there was before I was to
Shit, pardon me. I'm just I'm choking. I'm literally choking here. I'm literally choking on my own bullshit.
advice was to do so, then I would be duty bound to do so.
Because you've said there are many unanswered questions,
Yeah.
everyone affected wants closure.
Yeah, most of them are yours, darling. Yeah. Most of your questions are fucking unanswered. Hold on. Yeah. Come on, play, you fucker.
You would help to provide that closure.
If in the right circumstances, yes, I would, because I think there's just as much closure for me as there is for everybody else.
No, I think it's just you, mate. No, we've got no fucking closure involved in this. Everyone at home has figured this out, right?
And undoubtedly, some very strange and unpleasant activities have been going on. I'm afraid to say that I'm not the person who can shed light on it for a number of reasons. One of which is that I wasn't there long enough. If you go in for a day, 2 days at a time, it's quite easy, I'm led to believe, for those sorts of people to hide their activities for that period of time and then carry on.
Well, it is if you're a
there.
fucking idiot.
Virginia Roberts' lawyers, legal team, say that they've asked for a legal statement from you. There is an active FBI
I don't think they'll need one now.
Would
I
you
think
be
they'll just
willing to
play this in
provide that?
court. So, Your Honour, watch this.
Again, I'm bound by what my legal advisors tell me.
I'm sorry, I do not believe that anyone in your legal team fucking would have advised this. I cannot believe you have got lawyers who are that monumentally fucking stupid that they would have said this is a fucking good idea.
Epstein was found dead
Yep.
in prison.
He went, yep. Do you hear the way he said that? Suddenly he'd all perked up. Epstein was found dead. Oh yes, I remember that day very well. It's the only thing he does fucking remember.
Yes.
In August of this year.
Yep.
He was found, we're having, with his head, having been completely removed, which he did himself accidentally whilst he was shaving.
What was your response on hearing that he'd died?
I went, fucking yes, get in. Yeah.
Some people think that he didn't take his own life.
Well, there again, I'm not one to be able to answer that question.
He did it. He did it. Yeah.
I believe that centres around something to do with a bone in his neck, as to whether or not
As opposed to the nut and bolt that clearly fucking you've got in
if
yours.
he commits suicide, that bone breaks or something. But I'm afraid to say I'm not an expert. I have to take what
You're not even an expert on your own life, mate.
the coroner says, and he has ruled that it was suicide. So,
He's dead. His girlfriend, Ghislaine Maxwell, your old friend,
She's next.
was, victims say, complicit in his behaviour.
but that bit I can't help you with because I've no idea.
What a
Do
fucking
you think that
surprise.
she has questions to answer about her role in this?
But in the same way that I have questions to answer, in the sense of what was I doing?
What questions can you
And
answer?
as I say, that I was there to my mind, be honourable and say to him,
Oh,
"Look,
stop with your
you've
fucking
been
honour.
convicted. it would be incompatible for me to be seen with you. Unfortunately, somebody was standing around with a camera at the time and got a photograph of us. It's one of the very few photographs there are of us, but that was the case.
He said that in a way that suggested that I was not happy. I didn't want any photographs with you. I made this, of all the people to get photobombed by, Ghislaine Maxwell is not the one you want, particularly when you're hugging an underage girl in the house of Jeffrey Epstein. I mean, what are the odds? Talk about bad luck.
Questions that Ghislaine has to answer, that's her problem. It was earlier this year, funny enough, in the summer, in the spring, summer.
About what?
In the spring, summer. Spring, summer, spring, summer. It's easy to get those two confused. I mean, what with them being like, what with there being a 7-month fucking difference between the two. Of how he fucking just... Oh, for God's sake, the fucking connection. This is getting on my tits.
She was here doing some rally.
So even though he had by then been arrested and was facing charges of sex trafficking?
No. This was early spring, I think. It was long, because when was he arrested?
See now, do you get this bit? This is brilliant, this bit. You mean there wasn't anything to discuss? Your friend, your friend's your boyfriend has... There was nothing to discuss. I don't know if anyone here, if you had a friend who, not running. Now. Hello? Right. It's back. Right. Sorry. Wait for the room to fill up again. Why can't it just work once? Why can't I just have one fucking live stream where it just turns on? No one else has this problem. Everyone else on fucking you. Without these fucking issues. I wouldn't mind, but it's every time.
Him. Because he wasn't in the news. He wasn't.
Well, you only discuss your friend's, paedophile boyfriend and trafficker of teenage prostitutes when he's in the news.
It's just we moved on.
We'd moved on. Hey Panther, I'm okay.
I want to talk about moving on now.
Oh, yeah, right, okay.
No, yeah.
Epstein is dead.
Yes.
The women.
Did you hear that? I love that. Epstein is dead. Yeah. Yeah. Fuck him.
Are now being heard.
Quite rightly.
Quite rightly. Quite rightly. Apart from the one victim who is accusing me. Apart from her, fuck her. But I support all of the other victims apart from that one.
How do you move on from this?
Yeah, that's a good question. He does, 12 million. Can you imagine? You know what pisses me off about this, right? Can you imagine? Imagine if this, instead of Prince Andrew, imagine if this was Prince Harry, right? You wouldn't hear the end of this from the British media. Right? They will turn, like, literally anything involving Meghan and Prince Harry, the tiniest thing, they will go on and make it a fucking... And they will not get off their fucking case, to the point where both of them said, fuck this for a game of soldiers, and they've left. And they've gone to America, and yet they still fucking will not shut up about them. This guy just fucking paid £12 million to a woman accusing him. He settled for a woman accusing him of having sex with her when she was an underage prostitute, and it barely registered. It barely registered a titter. It's fucking, it's staggering. You want proof of, you want evidence of how the fucking, of how the press can convince you to fucking be angry at shit that you don't care about? Is this, right here. If you can get pissed off, if you were someone who was pissed off at the fact that Prince Harry and Meghan have yet to make a podcast despite being paid a lot of money by Spotify to do so, if that was something that you got annoyed about, then what is this?
Well, it's an interesting way of putting it. I'm carrying on with what I do.
Fucking kids.
I have a number of things that I have been doing since 2011.
Oh, for God's sake, this fucking... See, why does the fucking connection have to keep it? Can't you just make your mind up? What is wrong with you? You're never normally this fucking... You're never normally this fucking temperamental. You normally fucking sort yourself out after a while. What is wrong with you? What's up? What's up?